This bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart afire.
What's up guys, Instincts here, bring you another rumour video, and with E3 just over 2 weeks away, I'm very excited indeed. But we still have a few more rumours to cover, and I said in my previous video that I would talk about the rumours for Sony, Microsoft and Nintendo, so that's what I'm going to do. Now, I'm hoping that this video won't be too long. I want to do all three in one video, but if it ends up being too long, I'm just going to cut it into 3 separate videos and put them out one by one. I don't know, maybe every 2 days or whatever I decide to do, but hopefully we can get it all in one video. So without further ado though, let's just get straight into it. Now, Sony, Microsoft and Nintendo are all planning to release another console either this year or next year. Now these, for Microsoft and Sony, these aren't successors, these aren't the next consoles. It's not the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox 2 or whatever they're gonna call their next console. What they're releasing is more like a 0.5 version. So PlayStation 4.5. I've also heard it being called PlayStation Neo and the PS4K, because apparently it's going to support 4K resolution. Now the PlayStation 4.5, or let's just call it PlayStation Neo. So the PlayStation Neo is said to be planned to be released just before the end of this year, before the PlayStation VR. Now there's reports saying that the reason that they're bringing this PlayStation Neo out is because VR was really bad, didn't work well with the original PlayStation. And if that's the case, then that's a bit of a shame, because anyone that has a PlayStation now that is hoping to get the PlayStation VR and for it to work brilliantly with their PlayStation, they may be disappointed with the quality and with how smoothly it runs, and you may find that people need to upgrade to the PlayStation Neo to even use PlayStation VR. And if that's the case as well, then that's going to be a lot of money for people to have to spend. PlayStation VR cost about £300, I think, roughly around that amount, and to have to buy a whole new console as well with that, it's going to be pretty expensive. What Sony really need to do is to introduce some sort of swap package or some trade-in offer. So you bring your old PlayStation, and as long as it meets the requirements, it's working, etc., then you trade your old PlayStation in, and you can pay, let's say, I don't know, £100 or £150 and get, or maybe even 200. I think I'd still be okay with that. And you can get the new PlayStation and the PlayStation VR for that price. That's the sort of thing they need to do. Otherwise, they're going to find that it's people are going to be buying one or the other, or neither. Now, the reports for the PlayStation 4.5, the PlayStation Neo, is that it's going to be graphically better. So the specs inside the hardware, inside the machine, are going to be much better. Obviously, if it's going to be running the PlayStation VR, it's going to be a higher specs inside. Now I don't know if this is I think this is confirmed, because I did see this on one of IGN's videos, and I've seen it around on the internet as well. So I think this is legit, but don't take me 100% for that. The PlayStation 4.5 is said to have CPU AMD 8 times Jaguar cores at 2.1 gigahertz. So 2.1 gigahertz is higher than what the original PlayStation's at now, the PlayStation 4, which is 1.6 gigahertz. There's still 8 times Jaguar AMD cores in that, but it's a 1.6 gigahertz CPU. So the PlayStation Neo is going to have a 2.1 gigahertz. So we should see an increase in terms of what the PlayStation can handle. Now the GPU, AMD again, 36 CUS at 911 megahertz. 911 megahertz. So that's also an increase from the PlayStation 4, which is 800 megahertz. Okay, so there, and it's 18 CUs in the old PlayStation 4, whereas in the PS4 Neo it's going to be 36 CUs, like I said before. So there's a massive increase there. And then you got in terms of memory, the memory is still 8 gigabyte. It's still the same, the memory. However, it's going to be gigabytes per second, 176, which it was on the old one. And in the new one, the PlayStation 4 Neo, is going to be 218 gigabytes per second. So massive increase there in terms of specs on all the hardware. So we should see a massive increase in terms of, you know, what the PlayStation can handle. And that's why it's also going by the name PS4K, because it's supposedly going to be supporting 4K resolution. Now, of course, you're going to need a 4K TV as well for it to be at its best, and the games will have to be made in 4K. But the reports are saying that when games going forward that are released will be released with two versions, the Neo version and the normal version. You'll be able to switch between the two. So if you've got a PlayStation Neo, you can put it on the Neo version and play it in 4K. And if you don't have one, then you can just play it in the normal resolution, and that's what supposedly they're going to be doing. If that's the case, then, well, that's brilliant, because we're more and more catching up with what the graphics of a PC is. Now, obviously, PCs they're still ahead. You'd have to have a pretty powerful PC to play it in 4K and over 60 frames. They can play their games in over 60 frames per second, but you need powerful specs. But it's really exciting that the PlayStation 4 Neo will be able to, you know, that we're trying to keep up with what the computers can play at. They're saying that it could be releasing it just before PSVR. So I think PSVR is releasing end of this year. So they're saying that it's just before the end of this year it'll be released. Whether that happens or not, I'm not sure. But I do expect to see this at E3. I do think this will be at E3. So that will be interesting to see what Sony have to say about that. And hopefully at E3 they announce some sort of trade-in program in terms of upgrading to the PS4 Neo and getting VR as well. Now, moving on to Microsoft. Microsoft are also going to be releasing a new console. Now, the reports are saying that there's going to be two new Xboxes. One is the slim version, and one is the Xbox One Scorpio, it's being called. Now, I like that name, Scorpio. That's pretty cool. There is reports on when it's going to be released, because they're saying that the slim version will be released at the end of this year, and the Scorpio will be released beginning of next year. Xbox One Slim is going to be cheaper, it's going to be lighter, it's supposedly going to have 2 terabytes of hard drive space, which is really good. And they're saying 40% smaller. That's how much smaller it's going to be. 40% smaller than the Xbox One that we've got right now. So that's really good, because the Xbox is quite chunky and quite big compared to the PlayStation 4 it is anyway. So 40% smaller is really good. Lighter and cheaper. It sounds like a win-win, to be honest. However, I have read that they may have to remove the Blu-ray player to make it smaller. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not. They're saying, you know, you can just download the DVDs or whatever you want to watch instead, but that is kind of a shame that we won't be able to just put in a DVD to watch anymore like we could before. That's a bit of a shame. I mean, I don't know, it may only be just Blu-ray, like I said, Blu-ray player, so it might only just be Blu-ray things that we can't watch. We can still watch normal DVDs, but Blu-ray DVDs we might not be able to watch. I don't know whether this is true. This is just something I've read. Now, Scorpio may not be the name for the Xbox. It might just be the code name, just like Neo might just be the code name for PlayStation. I'm not sure, but I really do hope they call it Xbox Scorpio, because it sounds sick. It sounds pretty cool. But that is supposed to be released next year, and apparently what they're saying is that the Xbox Scorpio will be more powerful than the PlayStation Neo. So if that's true, then the tables have turned, because at the moment the PlayStation 4 is more powerful than the Xbox One. Just graphically, hardware wise, it's more powerful. If the Scorpio is going to be more powerful than the PlayStation Neo, then the tables really have turned. That'll be interesting to see. Now, I don't know what prices will be for the new Xbox. There hasn't been any prices. Obviously, the Slim they said it's going to be cheaper. Scorpio, I don't know how much it's going to cost. I doubt it will be any cheaper. But what I have been hearing also is that for the Xbox Scorpio, what I do know is that it's expected to have 6 teraflops of processing power. Now, teraflops sounds like a made up name, but I did some looking into what teraflops actually is, and I looked on good old Google, and it says a teraflop is a measure of a computer's speed and can be expressed as a trillion floating point operations per second. 10 to the 12th power floating point operations per second. 2 to the 40th power flop. So I'll put that up on the screen. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what the hell that means, but it sounds like it's going to be very powerful. Today's fastest parallel computing operations are capable of teraflop speeds. Scientists have begun to envision computing operations at petaflop speeds. Mate, this is getting a bit too complicated for me, and I work in flipping IT. So, so let's just. What I get from that is it's going to be very fast and very powerful if the CPU can do that much speed, teraflops. So that's all I've got though in terms of specs for the Xbox Scorpio. I mean, apart from that, I don't know anything else. Another interesting thing that they're saying about the new Xbox Scorpio is that it will work with the Oculus Rift. Now, we all know that Oculus Rift needs a powerful PC to work. Otherwise you just won't work. It doesn't work with standard PCs. You need a powerful PC to run it, and obviously it doesn't work with consoles. They're just not powerful enough. But the fact that the Xbox Scorpio will work with Oculus Rift, now that just shows how powerful the new Xbox is going to be, if this is true, obviously. And not only that, but the Oculus Rift, I mean, I don't know how it compares to the PlayStation VR, because I haven't tried either of them. I'm excited. I want to try both of them. I'm excited to try both of them, and if I ever do get a chance, maybe I'll do a little review on the channel. But I assume that because it requires a lot more processing power, a lot more higher specs to run than the PlayStation VR, that graphically it's going to be better than the PlayStation VR. That's what I just assume. I mean, educated guess. So, if the Xbox Scorpio not only is graphically better than the PlayStation VR and can run the Oculus Rift, then that is very exciting indeed. And there is reports that they are pursuing a partnership with Oculus. Microsoft are. So a lot of things there. It's developing. It seems like if we look at the consoles now, the sales for both consoles, the PlayStation is hitting Microsoft out of the park. The most popular console at the moment, next gen console, PlayStation 4 is the more popular console. It just did get more sales, and I think it's more due to the fact that when Microsoft initially announced their console, they had all these restrictions on it, and PlayStation just didn't. But Microsoft have been trying really hard to sort of, get all their fans back. And I mean, it sounds to me like another step in the right direction, is to make the consoles more equal, if this is all true, of course. Now, obviously, this might be very expensive again, so they're going to need to put some sort of swap-in program, some trade-in program, and they're also going to need to make it affordable. So I don't know what their plan is with that. We'll find out more at E3. I assume it's going to be at E3. I assume PlayStation VR is going to be at E3. Nintendo, I think I've already said that the NX is not going to be at E3, so we'll have to wait until September at the Tokyo Game Show to see more about that. But PlayStation Neo and Xbox Scorpio should both be there, so I'm very excited to see that. Now I think I'm going to end the video here because it's already 16 minutes long. I'll do Nintendo separately in another video. Thanks for watching though. If you like this video, if you like me speaking about all the rumours that I've found, then slap a like on the video, hit subscribe to my channel. I'll be bringing out more videos whenever I hear rumours. I'll be bringing out a video on what I thought about E3. I'm really thinking about what direction I want to take the channel in. I'm going to do some more gameplays as well. I haven't done any in a while. Havoc hasn't been on here in a while, so I'm looking to do some more of that as well. But you know, comment below, put a like on the video. It really shows me that, you know, that you're enjoying the content that I'm making, and it makes me want to make more. And I enjoy doing this anyway. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
My life is over, 'cause I start thinking